everyone. This is David Ellis, and I'm here with Amir Jahangiri. Andrew Botsis can't be here today, but boy, do we have a show for you that will end all shows to come. Today, we're going to be dealing with crazy ass spiritual, I shouldn't say spiritual, more like religious movements. And we're going to be examining all of the different practices of these spiritual movements. But we have some real winners for you today. Oh my God. I went trolling on the internet and I found some of the wildest and wackiest real serious religious ceremonies and so on, so that we could share them with you and ask your opinion. So once again, we're going to be showing you some stuff. If you are particularly sensitive, we'll be giving you trigger warnings. But you could surely leave your opinions in the comments below. Now, Amir is not a stranger to fundamentalist craziness. Amir, introduce yourself to the audience.
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings. I'm really grateful that you're here with us. So we've really taken the mickey out of spiritual people. Mm-hmm. But compared to what you're going to see today, those poor guys are classy, you know. We're going to go into religious practices which are disgusting, bizarre, cruel, abnormal, in a way that kind of takes it to the next level. So this is kind of building back the bridge, making peace with our spiritual community, that, okay, we roasted you, but have a look what we're going to do, what we're going to do to these guys. So it's going to be interesting.
Okay, so trigger warning. A lot of this stuff is going to probably hit you at your core because some of us come from Christian backgrounds, some of us come from Muslim backgrounds, some of us come from Hindu backgrounds. And I want you to understand that if you have not actually researched what the origins of your practices, don't be triggered when it is that we tell you what the origins are. Okay, so Amir and I are going to cut away and then we're going to look at these short films. And then we're going to come back and discuss them. Amir, you ready for this?
Yeah, let's do this. This is going to be good.
Okay, cool. And we cut away to our desktop right here.
Dünyanın süsü olan, dünyanın ihtişamı olan, dünyaya kalite getiren, anlam getiren varlıkların 2015 yılına daha hala kadın haklarından bahsedilmesi çok korkunç. Böyle bir durum zaten hiç olmaması lazım. Baskı. Ve o baskının sonucunda cilt sağlıkları bozuluyor, saçlarının güzelliği bozuluyor, vücutları bozuluyor, neşeleri kalmıyor, sevinçleri kalmıyor. Adeta güzellikleri tamamen toprak olmuş oluyor, yok olmuş oluyor.
We're in Istanbul, Turkey's biggest city, and also home to Adnan Oktar, the world's most famous, if not only Muslim creationist. His group of followers is called the Kittens. Even though they're a religious group, they have their own TV channel and show where they talk about everything from religion, politics, to Kim Kardashian. I've actually been invited onto their show, so I'm going to head over to their studios to find out more about Adnan Oktar and his group of kittens. But before the show, I wanted to learn more about their group, which has dozens of websites that advertise their message. So these are all videos of Mr. Oktar giving kind of speeches to his followers. And this first video is called Excerpts from Conversations. To men who meddle in women's affairs, would you like women to meddle in your affairs? Our religion has given women an authority, maternal authority. I used to kiss the bottom of my mother's foot and say, here I find the smell of paradise. That is really intense. So then he goes on to say, now that in a sense, women are more and more superior. They're superior in compassion, mercy, cleaning, punctuality, meticulousness, and thinking about details. It seems like his views kind of oscillate between two different things. On one hand, he's like, kiss the bottom of your mother's feet. But then on the other hand, he's saying the superiority of women is actually in meticulousness and cleaning.
Adnan Oktar came on the scene in the late 70s and 80s when he began a religious group based on a grab bag of creationism, the evils of Darwinism, and Islam. Soon after, his fans, many of whom were from Istanbul's wealthiest families, started to follow him, and Oktar's congregation went from being a religious group to something that resembles a cult. His kittens, who bear a striking resemblance to each other with their plastic look and fondness of bleach blonde hair, look closer to LA reality stars than religious devotees. A lot of people think Muslim women only wear head to toe veil, but in Turkey, majority Muslim country, there's a wide range of fashion. With the kittens, who sit at one extreme, I wanted to see what Turkish people thought of Oktar and the kittens. Olive Arkulet, a prominent Muslim feminist, doesn't think looks have as much to do with Islam as people say, especially for women.
Ben tekrar altını çizmek istiyorum. Yani giyimine bakarak insanlar Müslümandır yahut değildir diyemeyiz. Vermem, yani vermemek daha doğrudur ama şunu biliyorum. Yani buradaki problem onların Müslüman olup olmaması değil. Buradaki problem onların hani kadınlara neyi yaptıkları ya da neyi reva gördükleriyle alakalı bir şey diyoruz. Ve bu eşitliği de...
I'm going to skip ahead here.
I spoke to Sarah. She said if we're not in the studios, we could go.
This policy, we want to record our camera.
Look at this, Amir.
Okay. Kendi isteğinize göre çekip onu biz daha sonra edit ediyor arkadaşlarımız.
This is an editing
Yani uygun olan yerleri. Ama biz konuşalım.
After a long back and forth, the only place I could speak openly was in the bathroom on a phone camera. So I told them we can't use our own cameras, even though I discussed beforehand to let our cameras shoot here. Seems like we have some sort of policy where we can only use their kind of shitty cameras. They're going to edit it and give it back to us, and clearly they're really worried about their image. But we're going to play ball, see what they're going to do.
Hi.
My name is Oktar Babura.
Nice to meet you.
Very welcome.
Hi.
This is Mr. Adolf's studio house.
Great. Oh my gosh. This is like MTV Cribs.
So caught up in the luxury, I forgot that this is the home of Islamic creationism.
Oh, this is gorgeous. So what's this stuff?
Well, here you see some paleontological evidences to show that the species did not evolve to each other.
Okay.
And these appear all of a sudden the species. These are real fossils, as you see over here. For example, you see a seahorse 5 million years old here. And then you see the picture of the seahorse. You see they are no different.
Yeah.
Which means there is no difference, means no evolution, of course.
We're waiting on them to finish Ramadan prayers, and then they're going to come mind us during dinner too.
Wow.
And then at 11 o'clock, I'm going to go on a show. I'm not sure what they're hiding because actually, like when the cameras are off, everything seems pretty benign. There's only one kitten who we've seen so far. The rest have been corralled away until we see the show. It feels a bit like I'm in North Korea because everybody's smiling and everybody's into showing me how luxe the life is. But they are not letting us film anything at all with our own cameras. Like I said before, you know.
Efendim, merak ettiğiniz, konuşmak istediğiniz konular varsa hemen başlayabiliriz.
Okay, so I came here because I'm making a TV program about women in Islam. I've noticed.
Amira, have you seen
in
enough, eh?
Turkey when we come here, it's very distinct because there are people who are covered and there are people who are not. Does he believe that women should be covered?
I think we have seen enough, but
Yeah, we
let's
get the
study a little
picture.
bit more.
Çok olağanüstü şartlar varsa, kadınlar rahatsız ediliyorsa, tabii ki kadın kendini korumak için kapanılması gerekir. Cenab-ı Allah bu konuyu net bir hüküm olarak açıklıyor. Yani cinsel organları, göğüsleri kapalı olmak şartıyla gayet rahat bir kıyafetle gezebilirler.
So this means like a bikini, for instance, they can wear.
Tabii ki.
So there are many women that work on the A9 channel. Are they here tonight?
Evet, demin geldiler. Alkışlarla sizi isterseniz içeri alın.
Oh, they're leaving?
Yeah, the ladies are. Hanımlar
Okay.
geliyor, ladies are coming.
Şimdi bu güzel hanımla konuşmalarımıza devam edelim.
So I talked to April actually a lot about what women in Islam represent. And so I wanted to ask some of the women here how they feel about misrepresentations of women, Muslim women in media and things like this.
Gelenekçi İslam'da kadın tehlikeli bir varlık olarak görülüyor. Yani yüzlerce tedbir var. Bir kere erkeklerin içine çıkanmaması var. Çıkmaz diye biliniyor. O oradan, konu oradan bitiyor. İkincisi çıksa bile tamamen kapalı olarak çıkması gerekiyor. Kapalı çıksa bile konuşmaması gerekiyor. Konuşursa kaba konuşması gerekiyor. Yani kadının potansiyel böyle suç makinesi gibi görülmesi gelenek.
Okay, we have seen enough here. Amir, back to you.
So the thing that it reminds me of is the harem of the Ottoman rulers. Now, the gentleman you see has taken the place of the Sultan, the king, and all the other dudes are the eunuchs who manage the women. And of course, the Ottoman Empire conquered many regions in Eastern Europe, and as you know, Eastern European people are very beautiful people. So they used to take slaves. So the exact dynamic that you would see in the king's private harem, which is his collection of thousands of men and women for his sexual pleasure, is now replicated here.
Mhm.
So Turkey is uniquely suited for this kind of a cult. It's in their cultural memory, the days of greatness, so to speak, and how women were powerful, how a lot of political decisions were actually made in the harem, how women would influence the king and politicians to move one way or another. But this is basically a cult that's a reproduction of the Ottoman harems. It's based on slavery. That's the terrible thing about it. Now, women were forced into becoming the basically concubines of the king,
Mhm.
and men were castrated to serve in the capacity of cleaning, cooking, doing chores, and so it's a brutal system. And of course, the Ottomans, they liked their drink, they liked their women. They were not strictly Muslim. It's a mishmash of East and West, and Turkey is a unique country that has European and Asian territory.
Mhm.
So that's my first thing I see from this. The other thing that pops into mind is in the Islamic world, because the women wear the hijab, the only thing that's mostly visible is the face.
Mhm.
So making the face beautiful becomes exaggerated to a point where it becomes absurd. So those lips are not natural. They've done something to it. The
They fill
skin
them.
is not natural. The nose has been modified. The cheekbones are modified surgically. The hair is bleached. And this is, and all of them look the same, because guess what? The head of the cult, the Sultan, likes it that way. He couldn't get any Swedish ladies. So he said, okay, you got to look like them. It's just absurd. And yeah, cults like this exist. It's absolutely a cult. Charismatic leader, speaking, yeah, you know, with that deep voice, with the same rhythm that would mesmerize you. Yes, it's a mess, man. But it's nothing new. The same old formula played again.
I have a few things to say here. The sexism is over the top.
Yeah, oink, yeah, like
You got women looking pretty much alike, right? And I know a lot of people are going to be saying, but it's their choice, David. Not really. When you brainwash, it's not a matter of choice. That's number one. Number two, I want to correct a few people's idea of traditional Islam. Traditional Islam is not theoretically supposed to be an oppressive religion towards women. They do see women as being protected beings, but you would have to live inside the culture to actually understand the difference between women's oppression and seeing women as seeing a woman as somebody that you need to protect, There is a difference. Trust me, there is. So I'm never going to knock Islam where the woman protection thing is concerned, because a lot of other places don't do that. A lot of other places in the regions in the world don't do that. And we have seen the results, okay? We have seen the results. Women are targets for all sorts of crimes. Okay. This stuff that we just watched, however, this shit here is definitely not about protection. And this is what kills me. He's using the Jedi mind trick. Women are superior, but please look alike and please look good. Oh God, oh God, oh God, it's so cringy. It's so cringy. It's so cringy that I can't, I can't stand to look at this stuff. It's really, really bad stuff. And what I suspect what disturbs me most of all is the transparency. You would have to be dumb, blind, deaf to not see that this is just another man cult oppressing women. You would have to be, like, seriously, but these women are in there. And probably it's a good thing that they dyed bleach blonde. Because, you know, that thing about blondes. Like seriously, there's no irony that it goes untouched here. So they're all blonde and they're all falling for this. Oh. But he's promoting women as some superior creatures. And that's the Jedi mind trick. But he's not the only one, because there are a lot of feminist groups that promote women as superior only to take the money from women who feel disenfranchised. So it's not only men doing it, it's also women doing it. And that's just disgusting. But hey, it's Islamic. You can now become a Muslim if you wanted to with your bleached blonde hair. Just saying. Shall we move on to the next one, Amir?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this one is it's something that could uniquely exist in Turkey. I'm not sure if there are other Islamic countries that are so open to this kind of thing.
No, he would be stoned.
Yeah. Many places this wouldn't go down. I mean, the way that these women are treated, they might be in a state of mind not to notice personally, but others would speak. Many more traditional Islamic countries, they wouldn't have this. They'd punish the guy, and rightfully so. I mean, if something like this went on in Europe, they'd have the guy in court for prostitution.
For
right?
everything else in between.
And everything else in between, exactly right.
And cancel culture would have a meal with this man.
There we go.
In North America, if he was in North America, the woke-tivists and the cancel culture people, I never liked them. But this would be one time that is justified. And this is another thing that I can't stand with woke people and cancel culture. You're only dealing with stuff in North America, right? Please go to the Middle East and try to do that shit there.
Yeah.
I am calling you guys out. You got feminists, woke-tivists, you got cancel culture people. North America is an easy target. It's low-hanging fruit. Please go to the Middle East and try that shit over there. Then I can respect you.
Very true. And by the way, we would stand by you with being proud standing by you, because really this is a problem. So many gains of rights and social freedoms that are basically human rights that
Correct.
women have won in the Western world. This hasn't happened in many places. So if you think that the war is over, it's not. It's just beginning. The rest of the world requires this kind of movements. And if you believe, do it. And as your humble brother, I stand by your side.
Understood. This is where rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
It's easy to beat up on some guy who said something wrong in Brooklyn or in California. It's kind of hard to go to Saudi Arabia and try to say we should cancel the royal prince.
There we go.
But you
Exactly.
should try it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you should. Which brings us to the next movement. And this time we go to Christianity. We just did Islam. Let's do an extreme Christian movement. Sharing the screen once again.
When you have armed citizenry and they try to do evil, they get shot quickly. They get punished fast. My name is Youngin Sean Moon, known as also Pastor Sean, or known as also Second King. My father is the Reverend Sun Moon, who believes the Lord's Second Advent, and he has created a kingship line, of which I am his. The Bible is very clear in showing that Christ requires us to be judges over the nation, judges of the wicked, to rule with the rod of iron.
I convey the message from the second king about the Lord of Iron, but their reaction is, you're so wicked and you're in a cult.
Are you trying to appeal to all the pro-gun people of America? I'm not telling you how to do your job, but it seems like a massive opportunity for your church.
To be a king, you're going to have territory, and you better have a means to keep that territory. Pastor Sean and God working through him, he's taking the providence of God forward. In the scripture, it says, thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Now that on earth is literal, okay? He is no longer talking about, let's just wait till we die and the kingdom comes. No, we're going to build this here and now.
Psalm 2 and also Revelation 2 says that the believers will rule with a rod of iron.
Wow.
It's 2018, and we seem no closer to understanding the meaning of life. If anything, it can feel like we're further away than ever.
Wow.
When looking for answers in such a confusing world, having something to believe in can be a convenient remedy and a revealing reflection of the society we live in. We're in Pennsylvania. It's just a 2.5-hour drive outside of New York City. It's extremely rural, and we're at a makeshift gun range with people who love guns.
Love God, love your neighbor. Hey.
And God. The World Peace and Unification Sanctuary is a small fringe sect of Christianity.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Which has origins in Korea, is based in America,
With that tick stuff.
and has been accused of being a cult.
We're going to start at low ready as we've been practicing.
Led by the charismatic pastor Hyunjin Sean Moon, or the Second King. These Christians believe they must build God's kingdom on earth, and to do that, they'll need guns.
We thank you that we would have the opportunity to be able to practice and love God and love our neighbor. From you, we receive our rights of kingship and sovereignty. And Father, the right to bear arms that we exercise today. In your precious name we pray. Amen. All right, y'all. Good job. How's your neighbor?
How long have you been in the church?
My parents, were part of the church, and so I grew up kind of like in the faith. But my family has always been into like the Second Amendment and hunting, so that's been a part of my life this whole time.
We're gonna have to stop. How does the actual faith element play into this activity?
Being able to take your own life as seriously as God takes your life is, I think, loving God and showing God, yes, I appreciate this life, this gift that you've given me, and the lives of those around me. And I want to take your work seriously, so I'm not going to just be stopped by some crazy dude who is trying to hurt me.
Oh, okay.
I consider this an honor to be able to train in this way. This is the Peace Kingdom Police, Peace Kingdom Corps. And our motto is love God, love your neighbor. As a Christian.
David, could we go back onto the logo on the weapon? That just caught my eye. So yeah, there we go. There's a crown on top, crown on the sword. There's 2 crowns on the side. There's a cross in the middle. So there's guns crossing. So can you see anything else? But this is kind of like the boiling down of their ideology.
Oh, I think this is going to end badly for everyone.
This is going to go nasty.
I think this is going to end badly for everyone.
as in
because they have some
the
serious ammunition.
yeah. This
this
is bad.
front.
I mean, we've had examples of this when the U.S. Army got involved.
Yeah, and Waco. Let's break back because I think the audience have gotten the point. So
Oh yeah.
We got a Christian gun cult. Look, we got Barbie dolls, we got gun cults.
Yeah.
Like we got everything out there. And you say, look, Christianity has always been awash with crazy people. Okay, it's like the religion that you go to if you know you're going to be nutsoid, right? Islam has little space for that, although we've seen an example here.
Exactly right.
Christianity has been always the go-to place for the nutsoid people, from Jim Jones to Waco, Texas. They all had a Christian base, a number of other cults in between. The common denominator is that they all end badly.
Agreed.
And so when you have AR-15s and you have like all sorts of military grade weapons, right? But hey, if that doesn't work, we have culling knives. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, where do you stop? Then you've got suicide bombers. You see, this is prevalent. The same kind of stuff is not restricted to Christianity. The Islamic world takes it quite to the extreme. I mean,
I can't get over the Jedi mind trick in all of those films we just watched in the times that we just watched these films. Love thy neighbor, but have an AR-15 just in case your neighbor doesn't love you back. Then you could settle that problem.
You dip the bullets in love and shoot them with that. You know, at least the first guy who was the reincarnation of the Ottoman king with the golden color tie and everything, calling his women kittens. I mean, for goodness sake, he didn't call himself a king. This new dude, the Korean
better than
dude,
calling them buddies.
yeah,
It's better than calling them buddies.
But this new Korean dude, he actually calls himself a king. I mean, the level of narcissism in these people. Well, you got to be a narcissist to be a head of a cult. I think that's a prerequisite.
What amazes me is the response of the followers. He's making his kingdom here now. What if the rest of the world, the rest of the 8 billion people say, well, nah, we don't really subscribe to that. You have a solution for that, right?
Our king only needs a few acres, that's all.
Yeah, you have a solution for that, right? And it comes in lead. Oh, okay. I don't know what to say to people who subscribe to stuff like this, right? Because if you subscribe to stuff like this, you are a special kind of lost. Okay. Now, in the Bible, it does say love thy neighbor. I have not seen, he's talking about the sword of heaven. Okay. And no, that would be the angel's job. That's not your job. It's your job is like Christ, remember? They came to arrest him. He did not have his apostles with AR-15s dusting out the Romans.
I mean, he was a gentleman. He gave the guy a kiss on the cheek that you're going to kill me, but I'm a classy dude. Here. Mwah. He didn't shoot them or cut their heads off.
Like Christ, a lot of people don't know what happened to the apostles after the crucifixion, the crucifying of Christ. They all met with very dire ends. They were all killed, all of them. Okay, some of them were killed in the most horrifying ways. We're talking about flaying, impaling, right, hanging, and all sorts of different things. They were all killed. They did not create an armed resistance. What are you talking about here? Okay, like, is he talking about the Old Testament? Because that might actually fit, right? But there was nothing in the Bible that suggested at any point in time, Daniel and the lion's den. Remember them? Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego in the pit. All of these examples do not point to the creation of an armed resistance if you are truly Christian. But I think they've modified the Christianity, right?
Yeah.
Like what kind of rod of iron are you talking about? That's not a rod of iron. That's a rod of lots of little pieces of iron and lead and copper, right? And gunpowder on top of it. There is only one reason why you would pick up a gun if you are in a situation where you're in a religious situation, right? And that's if you're going to crusade. Okay. And if that is the case and you go to crusade, who are you going to crusade against? Because you would be on one side of the fence and the rest of the world would be on the other side. God. And why are you mixing religion with politics? And Jesus Christ had nothing to do with the creation of the Constitution of the United States, believe it or not. The only document he is credited with creating, if you are a Christian, I'm not talking as a spiritual person, but if you're a Christian, is the Bible, I suspect. And even that is in doubt. He definitely had nothing to do with the creation of the Constitution of the United States. Right? Because I can guarantee you that he would not have put in the Constitution, you have the right to bear arms. Why? You see him bearing any arms? At one point in time, there's only one record of Jesus Christ losing his temper in the Bible, and that was the Pharisees who were gambling in front of the temple. Okay?
And that was sacrilege. So that's why he got angry, not for any territory or anything like that.
For desecrating his father's house. Exactly. So, guys, I don't know what to say here. I mean, it's a cool gun club. I would join just for the guns, really. I'm not going to join just because you want to save my soul with your rods of iron. Jesus. Wow.
So far, David, what we've seen, both of these extreme religious organizations have one thing in common: brainwashing.
Yeah, to a high degree.
So I'm suspecting that they're using known mechanisms, known vulnerabilities that exist in all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Give these people enough time, they'll convert you.
Oh.
I mean, the people that have joined are not stupid people. They have been infected by the virus that is basically the theory behind the brainwashing. Women are superior, but you have to be sex kittens. Jesus preaches compassion and kindness, but you got to be able to blow somebody's head off from 300 meters. Mm-hmm. The contradictions are there, and yet none of them question this. This is not healthy cognition. They're not thinking straight anymore.
So, Amer, I bet you think this can't get any worse, right?
Oh, I'm sure it can. When it comes to people, we human beings have no limit on the dumb, stupid stuff we can do.
Well, I got a treat for you today, because it can get very much worse. It can get very much worse, and we're sharing the screen again, and we're off to the races.
Brace yourself. Oh my goodness, let's see this one. Oh my goodness, the Agori.
Oh, our friends here on a different level.
Hindus believe in reincarnation. Each rebirth is determined by the karma that you accumulate from your previous life. But it can also be affected by Hindu notions of purity. But there is a sect of Hinduism called the Agori, challenging the very fabric of Indian society. Most Hindus are obsessed with maintaining ritual purity, not eating certain foods or touching certain things that can defile you. What this obsession with purity and pollution has done is it's created what we now know as a caste, from the Brahmin, who are at the very top, to what we now refer to as the Dalit, or the untouchables at the very bottom. It's the untouchables who do all the work that nobody else wants to do. They're the ones who clean the streets, pick up the garbage, deal with the sewage, things that would defile a pious Hindu.
When body is burning, if anybody get this ashes in his body, power is coming from there.
The Agor believe that God lives within you. And if God lives within you, then nothing you do can defile you. A very small movement, mostly of ascetics, prove this belief by taking part in ostentatious displays of defilement. They will cover themselves in the ashes of the dead. They will eat rotted corpses. They will drink their own urine.
Oh my goodness.
They will sleep within the cremation grounds. It's an idea that's very difficult for everyday Indians to take part of. But something remarkable has happened over the last few decades. More and more middle-class Indians, Brahmins even, disgusted with the caste system in India, have begun to adopt Agori ideals, but through social activism, by taking care of the weak, the hungry, by feeding and caring for the poor, by touching those who are outcasts, the lepers, the sick. And they do this from a place of deep spiritual awareness. They really believe that God lives within every individual and that nothing can separate you from God. It's a beautiful idea.
So this guy decided to go interview the Agoris. Shall we see what happens next? Yes, that would be human remains.
Maybe I'll take this off right now and then... Just thank you. Thank you. Why are people on that side of the river so afraid of the Agori? I see. Why do you... Like this may have been a mistake. Maybe just like somebody distracts him and I just leave. Let's see where it goes. I can be polite. I can be very polite.
That's genuine horror.
All right, let's discuss the Agoris. A lot of people from Hatha Yoga, from the yoga systems, do not want to admit that the majority of their practices come from the Agori culture. I used to teach yoga. I could tell you that a lot of these practices come from Agori culture.
And go ahead, please.
And so, just so that you know, when you're rolling up the yoga mat and you're putting on the Lululemon tights and so on, yeah, a lot of your practices came from these guys. You know, the guys that eat rotten corpses and so on, it came from them. And so they're devotees of Shiva, for those of you who are devotees of Shiva. And yeah, there's nothing else to say. They drink their own piss, they eat rotten corpses. Yeah, they hang around burial grounds to see, you know, if you get this little stray bodies, they got skulls. You got skulls, you got sand in the face, you're not bathing, you're letting your hair go matted, you're smoking weed. They smoke weed. That's a big plus.
All day, every day.
They smoke weed, and they believe in the defilement. Now, Amir, I'm going to let you jump in here.
Well, the interesting thing is so first of all, let's put it this way. The Indian culture is ancient, rivaling Mesopotamia, rivaling Egypt. I'm talking 15, 20,000 years old, continuous culture, continuous civilization. And of course, in the video, we saw that there was a very, very strict caste system. Now, that is bound to produce rebellion. So the Agori to the Indian culture are the same as Satanists to the Christian civilization. They're a rebellion against all that is clean and dandy and beautiful. They say, off with that. We are filthy and we are proud. Now, in these practices, and I think, by the way, compared to the Islamic cult and the Christian cult, these guys are much purer. As in, they believe, you gotta believe hard in order to eat human flesh, eat your own feces, right? Eat dead bodies. And it's left-hand path to the extreme. Now, in that state where you have given pretty much everything that is entailed with the ego up, that is ego death in a very, very powerful sense. So some of these Agori masters are left-hand path practitioners. That means black magic, ladies and gentlemen. And they are intense. As in, you do not want to be on the wrong side of an Agori master. They will mess you up.
No, you don't.
Yeah. So
no, you do not.
Very, very powerful. Again, in the modern times, we've got the Star Wars and the dark side. There's one master and one apprentice. Guess where that comes from? That's the Agori motto. One master, one apprentice. Both of them are badass. Okay? So they believe what they practice. And you know, back in the day when the population wasn't so high, well, they would live around graveyards, places where bodies were cremated. They wouldn't mix with regular society. But now the population has grown to a level, there is no empty space in India. They're coming into contact with regular folk, and people are petrified of their practices. It's extreme left-hand path, and the devotion to Shiva, to Kali, it is pure. And purity brings strength. These guys are amazing. They live long, although they live in filth. That would kill somebody brought up in the West in 48 hours. You die living in all those germs and bacteria and viruses. These guys are intense. So I have a great amount of respect for them. Interesting people, but not to be messed with.
There's a certain level of dedication that is required in drinking your own urine. So I have to ask you guys out here who are Christians or Islamic, if Muhammad or Jesus were to come back right now and says, well, we've changed the policy up in heaven. We now require you guys to eat your own shit.
Yeah.
How many of you would change religions instantly?
Yeah.
How many of you would change religions instantly? How many of you would say, yeah, no, not happening? If Christ or Muhammad were to come back and say, yeah, we've changed the policy slightly, we've learned a few things from the Agoris there, so yeah, we're living in filth from now on, you guys would change your religion. So there's a certain level of dedication that comes with that.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you.
And so you gotta, despite the fact that it's horrifying, like horrifying to see, you gotta respect the fact that these individuals are not halfway, they're all the way.
All in, yes, yes, yes.
Right, they're all the way, right? Some of you go to church on Sundays, and some of you are devout Christians, some of you are devout Muslims, and so on. And you think that, well, I'm all the way in, David. Are you really? Think about that. You just saw the dedication on the other side of the fence.
Exactly right.
Left-hand path practitioners. Are you really? And this is what I'm going to say, something that is going to be not well received by the whole community watching this. You guys are not going to receive this. There are a whole bunch of light workers. Light workers are a dime a dozen. Okay? Do you think the average light worker is as dedicated as the average left-hand path practitioner? You see the difference?
And there are parallels in the Islamic world where there was, let's say, a master Sufi.
Correct.
Sufis are the mystics of their left-hand path, light and love and that, but they would ask their devotees to step into the fire. That's an ancient practice, and it's not a joke. I've seen this with my own eyes. That the person would stick their arm into the boiling pot of water.
What about the fakirs in the south of Spain?
Yeah. That's dedication. And
closing your hand for 7 years is a lot of dedication so that your fingernails grow through your palm.
Yeah.
That is all different kinds of wrong. The kind of, look, when you're talking about dedication and stuff like that, there are people in the East that will make whatever practice you're doing seem non-existent. Okay, right? You're talking about people who have the willpower to close their hand for 7 years and not open it as tapas, as voluntary self-challenge. You're talking about the yogi who rolled across India. Remember him? You're talking about people that take asceticism to a whole new level. Okay, so guys, when you're talking about Christianity and so on, or when you're talking about Islam and when you're talking about Hinduism, please understand that there are people who have gone all the way in, not halfway, not three-quarter way, all the way in, body, soul, and mind. And so there's a certain arrogance among the light worker community that I want to dispel here. I don't want to say this, right? We're talking about religions, but I do have to say this, that they're dedicated because you practice, because you burn some incense and so on, and then you meet an agori.
Exactly right. And the thing I want to say is, when the human ego, that part that is related to survival, keeping you alive in the physical reality, it's destroyed, demolished to such an extreme, then you can understand how these guys tame king demons, how they tame forces of nature. It's all about willpower.
Right. It's
So
all
if
about
you're
the
a light
willpower.
worker, if you're a light worker, it doesn't matter. See, many of these techniques, whether extreme left or right, are based on the same sciences. In order to wield that kind of power, you have to be powerful. Otherwise, it will break you. The forces involved will disintegrate you. So without that level of dedication, there is no power. When you see somebody which is let's say, a powerful healer, now this could be left or right path, you should know that they have felt every pain that they are now able to heal.
Understood. And just as a matter of information, you guys just saw a film on the agori. The emotion that it evoked inside of you, that's a different level of power.
So David, would you agree with me in thinking that, I'm thinking now, the first two, they're definitely cults, definitely a bunch of pansies. If they get whipped 20 times, they're going to renounce their beliefs. But these agori, they're not a cult.
No, they're not a cult. I suspect that they're more of a spiritual movement than a cult, because all of that defilement, or what they call defilement, it immediately kills the ego one time.
Oh, yes.
It kills the ego one time. You enter the state of nothingness to become something, right? And there's no halfway measure about it. So I'm going to not put them and lump them into the same category. But since we're on the topic, let's talk about a few practices. Circumcision. Please explain to me how cutting off somebody's foreskin makes them more pure and holy. I really want to, let's have a talk about circumcision. I think that circumcision was initiated by men whose penises weren't very big.
Yes.
And since my penis isn't very big, everybody else has to take a cut. Okay.
Probably some emperor or king in power saying, "Oh, the rest of you have to be smaller than me."
So
Yes,
we're gonna cut off pieces of you, right? Wow. Explain to me. I want somebody to explain to me in the comments below, how does cutting off somebody's foreskin make them more suited for spirituality, religious,
closer to God, like it's
closer to God with your foreskin off?
Exactly. So I don't know what the problem of the foreskin is, why God doesn't like the foreskin. But, you know, that's a mystery.
And FGM as well, female genital mutilation. You're taking the clitoris off of a woman. Why?
It's just messed up. And yet it goes back into antiquity, not just in the Middle East, where this all is the roots of modern day circumcision is the Middle East and Africa. But funny enough, the South American ancient cultures also did the same practice. In fact, the highest caste, the emperor and the empress, would have to regularly draw blood from their reproductive organs as an offering. So I don't know if it's just because it was extremely painful, that would be a sign of dedication, but it's messed up. It's really, really messed up.
If anybody in the watching this broadcast knows the answer to the whole circumcision question, please let me know, because my theory is that somebody with a small penis wanted everyone else to take a cut. It's like you make yourself taller by cutting off the heads of others, right?
Yep, there we go.
I'm like literally and figuratively. So, right. And they want a lot of hygienic practices back in the day. All right. So depending on whether the priest or priestess, as the case may be, likes you or not, that knife might be a little bit more dull than it needs to.
Oh, yes, yes. Dull and dirty. So they could put you through incredible pain and kill you at the end also.
Right.
You know, so it's one of those crazy things. So, I mean, I grew up in an Islamic background. We were asked, I remember asking, okay, why? What's the point? And the religious teacher said, yeah, you keep sand out of it. You cut it to keep sand out of it.
You're not in the desert walking around naked. What the hell? Keep sand out of it?
Or you're not humping the desert. Why would you need to, you know what I mean? It's kind of like cutting off your hand to keep your hands clean. No more hand to be dirty.
By that same token, I told Amir before the show started, you got to put saran wrap around your ass.
Yep, they're exactly right. What are you going to do about that? There's sand getting in there too.
I don't understand. It's to keep sand out. Oh my God! Wow! That's original. Female genital mutilation is a direct. It's a patriarchal thing. It's because they don't want the woman getting pleasure from any other man or even the woman themselves. It's sick. It's very sick. And let's talk about baptism since we're on the subject. I understand the concept of baptism. You bury the person from the old life and they are renewed into the new life. Okay. Can we do that like in a sort of like a virtual way? Like, do you have to put me underwater? Do you have to bury me in a sarcophagus? Do you have to do these kinds of things? And can you imagine how many pissed off little babies there are around the world? I'm sleeping, I'm all comfortable, and then some priest throw some water on my forehead. Like, hello. Have you ever been to a christening where the baby has not cried? There's a reason for that. They're pissed.
Well, if the baby is not happy, that's a very good sign something's terribly wrong. You know, the baby doesn't bullshit. They don't know how to bullshit.
I don't know the Holy Eucharist, confirmation. What are you confirming? You're confirming that you're part of the church? Why do I need to confirm that? I don't understand these rituals. I don't understand the concept of these religious rituals. I understand the basis of them. I understand why they're done, but there are other ways to get things done, right? Than pissing off babies, half drowning people, chopping people's foreskins off, right?
But David, all these things that we just talked of, they have the element of being traumatic in common. They're
Correct.
deeply traumatizing. Now, I mean, you're an expert in psychology. You probably agree with me when I say this, that even though childhood trauma may not be consciously recalled, the person may not remember, but it leaves this deep impact in the person. So if they're doing circumcision or baptism on a child, that trauma will affect them for the rest of their life. So
Having somebody take your foreskin and snip it off while you're awake, would be traumatic. You will remember it as an act of service to your religion or God, okay? And your shaved or amputated member, so to speak, will serve as proof that you are that holy person.
You're not all in, but you're this much in.
Because the Hashashin cut it all off.
They were all in.
Listen, you want to impress me that you're part of a religion and that you're a spiritual person, cut that thing completely off.
Not just the tip.
Yes, not just the tip, right? Trust me when I tell you that, right? If a man comes up to you and says, listen, if you get into an argument with a man, or, right, and the man says to you, because this is what the Hashashin did, right? You get into an argument with a man and the man says to you, I am now going to cut my penis off and my testicles to make sure that I spend the rest of my life dedicated to fucking you over. Okay? That's a threat. You take that shit seriously. Okay? Because that shows a level of dedication towards your destruction that really is like, did you just cut your own?
It's like somebody cutting themselves. If I do this to me, what am I going to do to you? That's just, exactly. That's kind of a mind fuck,
These guys were extremely scary guys. Extremely scary. Because as we said in the last broadcast, the Knights Templar just took vows of celibacy, but these guys are cutting it off. And if somebody cuts it off to join a warring faction, you have to respect their dedication, because if they cut that shit off, that means that they've given up on life. They're now dedicated towards your end. So honestly speaking, there are a lot of practices that actually make me a little bit concerned. When I see people like Agoris, I'm not going to get into an argument with an Agori, not even an argument, right? I'm like, whatever you say, sir, whatever you say, okay?
Yeah. Namaskaram, and you walk away, and they don't mess with you. If you don't disrespect them, they've got nothing, they have no interest in the mortal realm. They've got their own stuff to do.
Yeah, they got bigger fish to fry, right?
Precisely. It's like a cobra generating venom. Now that venom is a precious resource. If you leave the cobra alone, the cobra will not mess with you. If you go poking it with a stick, of course, it's going to use some of that precious venom to repel you. So it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, and I want to talk about vows of celibacy. Okay, so that didn't work out too well for the Catholic priest.
No.
You don't have to go there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It didn't work out too well for the Catholic Church. Now, you made a bunch of men with their penises still intact say, I'm not going to have sex or any kind of congress with any kind of mortal woman anymore. I devoted my life to God. Okay. So their penises were still intact. They're not going to go after the women, but they're going to have to go after little boys and have them have the church covered up on top of it. But seriously, guys, seriously, if you want to create a religion like that, cut it off.
Go all the way.
Not halfway, not 3/4 way. Cut it off completely. Then we wouldn't have any scandals of little boys. That would be an impossibility. Okay, and there's no proof or that cutting it off will decrease the desire, right? Because there's such a thing as ghost members. When you amputate an arm, it's still there, right? Spiritually speaking. But the fact of the matter is that you left a bunch of men with their penises still intact, and you let them promise that they would not have any relations with women. Probably that's the loophole. They said no women. They didn't say anything about little boys. So they discovered the loophole. And so we have scandal after scandal coming out from the Catholic Church. Okay. Now, vows of celibacy, I do understand them, and I'll tell you why I understand them. Because it's a development of willpower.
Exactly right. Yeah.
It's a development of willpower, right? And whether you're a fighter, like if you're into martial arts, there will be times when you have to be celibate, right? If you're competing, if you are a soldier or a high-level soldier, you are going to have to be celibate for a while, for the reason that you build willpower. And somebody who has that willpower, when they step into an arena where they have to demonstrate it, it becomes natural to them. Also makes for very dangerous people, just so that we're clear. Knights Templar being an example of the old Knights Templar, not the stuff we have now, right? Being an example of that, they become very dangerous people. For those of you who think that this is crap, I entreat you to do the following experiment. Try to do 10 push-ups right now. Don't have sex for 3 weeks. Try to do the same 10 push-ups. There is a very, very marked difference in the effort and the that you put out there. So there is some sort of basis to the celibacy thing. Celibacy for life, however, is not a good idea. It never is. Some spiritual people have decided to be celibate because they can't find people that resonate with their frequency. Okay? It might be because you're not trying to manifest people that might resonate with your frequency. That might be it. Okay? And honestly speaking, and if that is the case, then you're not doing your work properly, or you're not utilizing your willpower in the right direction. So I would have to say that. But all in all, these movements that we just saw there, like, wow, I don't even know what to say. If you guys are part of any of these movements, or you have people that are parts of cults, whether they're spiritual cults or religious cults, all I could say, it never ends well. The kittens are not going to end well. The gun nuts are not going to end well. The gories, they live really long, so I can't put them into that category. They live like ridiculously long lives.
Yes, yes. But again, David, the willpower reaches a level that they do not bow to the angel of death either. They give the angel of death the finger. Not today, motherfucker.
Yes,
Quite
and
literally.
in environments of like the most septic environments, that would kill most people. So I will give the Agori their props. They're doing something right, but the gun nuts are not going to end well, and neither are the
Now, David, let's imagine something truly horrific.
Hmm.
The Agori keep to themselves, but Islam and Christianity, quite frankly, do not. They're high on recruiting. Yeah. So imagine a Christian priest or an Islamic mullah that is devoted as the Agori. Now that would be a force of nature, something to be
actually
truly horrific. With that level of dedication and all the dogma attached to it, well, again, going back to Star Wars, they would be the Sith.
Yeah, the force would be with them for sure.
Would be with them, yeah.
Well, guys, that was our show for today. We invite you to share your comments below. And there's a lot of stuff that we don't know, like the whole circumcision thing. I would love for you guys to tell me what is the purpose of this? Because I'm thinking snippy, like why?
Well,
right?
It's probably not the sand. We ruled that out.
So if you guys know the answer, let us know. Other than that, Amir, thank you for being here. This was a wonderful show. Thank you.